Hey guys, in this review, we're checking out the Bertello 12-inch outdoor pizza oven. This is a gas and wood-fired combo, and what makes this oven unique is you can use gas and wood at the same time. It's 43 degrees Fahrenheit where I am, so we'll definitely be putting this oven to the test. Just a quick disclaimer, Bertello sent me this oven to test out, but as always, this will be an honest review. This is the everything bundle and costs $489. It comes with a propane burner, the wood burner that gets used with the propane, a charcoal or wood only burner, an infrared thermometer, a cover if you want to leave it outside, and a pizza peel, which I broke immediately. Just make sure you loosen this knob before you turn the handle around. I glued it back together and it works fine now. This wasn't Bertello's fault, sometimes I'm just an idiot. The pizza stone and wood burner were jammed into the oven and I struggled a bit to get them out, but eventually they came loose. So to get started, if you're using propane only, you have to install this wood burner first. You install it from the front. Then the pizza stone, which rests on these pegs so there's an air gap. The propane burner gets screwed into the back. I had to loosen these screws a bit, then place it in like so. Then one screw on the top and you're done. Now just hook it up to the propane. One thing before I forget, I really appreciate this extra long propane hose. Most of them are too short. Okay, so now for a temperature test. It's 43 degrees here in Western New York, so this will be a good test. We're starting with a stone temp of 49.7 degrees. At 5 minutes in, we're already at 369 degrees.
It's a nice display on that LED.
At 10 minutes, about 500. 15 minutes, 575. 20 minutes, 600. 25 minutes, 650, and after 30 minutes, we were at about 660. That's acceptable, it's hotter in the back, so I can work with this temp. So before launching your pizza, the quick start guide says to turn the burner down to low, and at this point, you can add wood if you like. I'm using wood chunks, and as you can see, I have impeccable aim. Oh, I forgot, the bundle also comes with tongs, which I definitely needed. I also overshot the tray and sent one into the stone. After adding wood, the stone temp did increase and we were at about 700 degrees in the center. This is a beautiful flame, actually one of the more impressive flames I've seen in a pizza oven. Bertello also sent me this dough to try out. It comes frozen in some dry ice, which also can be used for teenage boy stuff. Each dough ball was between 450 and 470 grams. I let these sit out overnight in an airtight container and they look like this by the next morning. You're supposed to let them thaw in the fridge overnight and take them out a few hours before you want to use them. I just skipped all that because I rarely follow directions. These get divided into two and I balled them up and let them rest again for a few hours. This dough was super easy to work with and it's a great beginner dough or just a very convenient dough you can have on hand. I'm using my Gosney peel while the glue dries on the Bertello peel. After launching your pizza, you want to quarter turn it every 15 to 20 seconds or it will burn. This first pizza took 2 minutes and 15 seconds to cook and looks great for my very first pizza in this oven. The Bertello dough handled the high heat and I couldn't be more pleased with the results. Every pizza oven has its idiosyncrasies and you have to learn them to get the perfect pie. But just remember, there's only a few seconds difference between perfectly cooked and scorched earth, so make sure you turn the pizza every 15 to 20 seconds. I also got a burning wood chunk stuck on one of the pizzas, so maybe place the chunks in instead of throwing them in.
Oh, what? You got wood on it.
The glue dried on the Bertello peel and it's working perfectly. I'm pleased with the results and I love that I have the option to use wood whenever I want. If I get lazy and don't put the wood in, it's not a big deal because the gas burner will take over. I read some reviews and some people think the opening is a little small. It's roughly 12 inches by 3 inches and it wasn't a problem for me. The only issue is the back of the pizza is hard to see when it's in there, but as long as you're turning every 15 to 20 seconds, you'll be fine. Okay, I'll probably never use it, but I want to test the wood only option because they do sell a very affordable wood only option, and you may opt for that instead of the bundle. I'm using charcoal briquettes as a base and putting the wood chunks on top. First I measured out how many briquettes will fit into the wood tray. I put in 40 and then lit them with my chimney. Once the charcoal was nice and ashed over, I carefully put them back in the tray. The briquettes aren't hot enough by themselves to get the oven up to temp, so I immediately put some wood chunks in to get the fire nice and hot. I was a little impatient with this setup. Ideally, I should have been feeding it wood until I got the stone up to 700 degrees, but I settled for anything over 500 degrees. And I realized here how nice it was to have the propane hooked up to regulate the temp for me. For this test, I thought I would try another store-bought dough. This is from Trader Joe's, and I've never used it before, but I've heard good things. These dough balls varied between 461 grams and 487 grams, and I cut them in half. Honestly, I usually make my own dough, but I figured I would try out another dough so I could compare it to the Bertello dough. The dough was very easy to work with and stretched nicely. I let these come up to room temp, and sometimes I like to stretch a few at a time, and when I put them on the peel, I flip them over and put the top side down, which is a little drier and slides off the peel a little easier. Okay, so for the first two pizzas, the tops were done prior to the bottom, and that was my fault for being impatient. I should have taken my time and let the stone heat up. That would have meant a few more rounds of feeding it wood. After this, I came up with a strategy to get the fire rip-roaring and then let the flames die down before launching. This would give it a longer bake on the stone without burning the top. And this was the perfect strategy. These pizzas took a little longer. The first one was about 6 minutes, the second 7 minutes, but they were perfectly cooked and had a nice crispy bottom. Taste-wise on the dough, I thought it lacked flavor and the Bertello dough was better. I'm very pleased with this oven, and if you're just getting into pizza ovens for the first time, give it some time, make some extra dough because mistakes will be made, especially with learning a new oven. My advice would be to spend the money for the combo because the propane burner with the option to add wood is very convenient and overall much less work. Wood is great, but on a pizza oven this small, it ends up being a chore. It's great to be able to use it as flavor and not the main heat source. Using wood does come with some extra soot and cleanup, but I am sold on this finish. This is by far the easiest oven I've ever had to wipe down and clean up. Literally just Windex and a paper towel. Cleaning the wood trays are not hard, I just pulled them through the front and dumped them, but you could probably scoop the ash out from the back. Overall, I'm pleased with this oven. This setup was easy, and I do believe Bertello is the only brand that offers a wood and propane combo that really gives you the best of both worlds, propane for stable heat and wood for flavor. That's it for this review. If you're interested in this oven, I'll leave the link in the description. God bless, and we'll see you on the next one.